Hi, boys and girls. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Mrs. Bates, and I am your library media specialist. I work in the Library Learning Commons, also known as the LLC, and that's where you'll come to check out books and to work on computers and iPads and lots of learning activities. I'm going to be reading tonight's TigerTuckin with my buddy right here, and the title is The Library Dragon. It is one of my very favorite books, and I love to read it at the beginning of the school year so we can learn a little bit about the library, which we know for right now is going to be a little different, but I'm going to tell you at the end about something that will still be the same. So The Library Dragon is written by Carmen Agrediti and illustrated by Michael P. White. Oh, and I forgot to tell you, the Library Dragon is here too, so she's watching to see who's listening. The Library Dragon. Now, first we see a newspaper ad. It's advertising for a job that is open, and it says, "Wanted children's librarian. Sunrise Elementary School seeks a thick-skinned professional to help reduce inventory damage and loss. Our library is in distress. If you possess a jealous love of books and a burning love of children, Sunrise Elementary wants you. Our new librarian must be on fire with enthusiasm. No half-baked applicants must apply. Call now, 555-SEER. Sunrise Elementary adores reading." So I think the wording in that advertisement might be why they got a library dragon. Now what's special about this book is that the author Carmen Agrediti actually signed it for us at TRIT. It says, "For the readers and dragon tamers at TRIT Elementary, love Carmen Agrediti." She's actually been to TRIT. She's one of my favorite authors. All right, here we go, the Library Dragon. Sunrise Elementary School had a big problem. The new librarian, Miss Lotta Scales, was a real dragon. Miss Lotta Scales was hired to guard the library, and she took her job seriously. Hundreds of new, clean books replaced the old smudged ones. These shining gems neatly lined the shelves of her library lair in perfect order. No 398.2s in the 500s, and absolutely no fiction among the biographies. I'll let you read the signs. She kept a fiery eye out to make sure no one removed any books from the shelves. Her motto was, "A place for everything, and that's where it stays." The very thought of sticky little fingers touching and clutching, pawing and clawing, smearing and tearing her precious books just made her hot under the collar. Hot under the collar is an expression. It means you're angry. So she didn't even let anybody touch books. Miss Lotta Scales thought that the way some books spread an unfounded fear of dragons was positively inflammatory. "Books that depict cruelty to dragons should never have been published in the first place," she said. She got so fired up about this, she didn't just throw away the books she didn't like, she incinerated them. I bet you can infer that incinerate means to burn. The kids watched in awe. "Well, that settles it," whispered Albert Hoops. "Where there's smoke, there's fire, and that Miss Scales is a real dragon, all right." And the kids watching her. Not surprisingly, the kids at Sunrise Elementary School began to dread Library Day. It wasn't long before the teachers stopped sending the children to the library. They kept coming back singed. Okay, here's another time to infer what the meaning of the word singe means. Just a little bit burned. The kids have their smoke coming off of their shirts. First, the principal tried to reason with Miss Scales, but his plan backfired. Instead of cooling her down, he just fanned the flames. "And finally, don't forget who does the hiring, Miss Scales," sputtered the principal. "Oh, really? And who does the firing?" asked Miss Scales with a glare and a flare that caught his tie on fire. "Now cut that out," said the principal as he waved the smoke out of his face. "No smoking in the library," Miss Lotta Scales said dryly. The principal fumed. The teachers were incensed. Worst of all, the children had missed reading and story time for weeks, and their grades were going up in smoke. So the teachers formed a delegation and after a trip to the cafeteria kitchen to fortify themselves, they paid a visit to Miss Scales. So fortify, they're going to get some things to protect themselves. Miss Lotta Scales smoldered as she listened to sweet Miss Lemon, the kindergarten teacher. And most importantly, Miss Scales, dear, the children miss story time. Story time, schmory time, blew Miss Lotta Scales. Well, if I let the children touch these books with their gooey fingers and snotty noses, the library wouldn't last a week. And she stared so furiously at the teachers that they threw down their weapons and clanged out, all except sweet Miss Lemon. You know, Miss Scales, we all love the books as much as you do, but the library belongs to the children. Good night, Miss Lemon, you slay me, cracked Miss Scales. Why, the idea of story time is simply medieval. She's saying story time is old-fashioned. As usual, the dragon had the last word. There goes Miss Lemon, being chased out by fire. That Miss Lemon is a real spitfire, chuckled Miss Scales. But she had spewed so much smoke and fire at sweet Miss Lemon that she had to lay down for a nap. She was really dragon. In fact, she was burned out. Being a library dragon can be such a lonely job, she mumbled sadly to herself as she heaved a mighty sigh and closed her scaly lids. It was at that very moment that Molly Brickmeyer accidentally wandered into the library. Molly was on a quest. She had lost her glasses and couldn't see a thing without them unless it was right under her nose. She stumbled into a bookshelf, and a book fell onto her lap. She never saw the sign that read, "Do not touch the books for display only." It was over her head. So she held this book right under her nose and began to read out loud. First, a class of second graders in line for the water fountain heard her and tiptoed in to listen. Then the fourth graders outside playing kickball heard a story being read and crowded around the windows. "Speak up," someone said. Molly Brickmeyer spoke up. Word of story time in the library spread like wildfire at Sunrise Elementary School. Everyone was listening, even the library dragon, and her ears were burning. She is mad. Slowly, Miss Lotta Scales rose up from behind the bookshelf and looked at the boys and girls huddled around Molly. She'd never seen anything quite like it. The children looked like they belonged here. "I love you, Snuff," Molly read on as all the children listened. "Give me that book, Molly Brickmeyer," roared Miss Scales. Molly held the book cheerfully toward the scaly blur. Miss Lotta Scales took the book and eyed it suspiciously as it hung from her claw. First she sniffed it, then she checked the spine for cracks, then she checked each page for stains and smudges. Finally, Miss Scales looked around at the children and cleared the smoke from her throat. Now, where were we? Why, yes, I love you, Snuff. At first the children were too nervous to listen, but when Molly Brickmeyer climbed up onto Miss Lotta Scales' lap and didn't get scorched, they relaxed. "You're warm," whispered Molly. "Don't interrupt," Miss Scales crackled. Everyone was listening so intently that they almost missed it. As she read, Miss Lotta Scales' scales began to fall on the linoleum floor with a clickety-clack, 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 until all that was left was Miss Lottie, librarian and storyteller, sitting on a mountain of yellow, green, and purple scales, with Molly Brickmeyer, dragon slayer extraordinaire, on her lap. The rest of the children warmed up to Miss Lottie right away. The changes in Miss Lottie's new kid-friendly library were hard to miss. Not surprisingly, the kids at Sunrise Elementary School began to love Library Day. Miss Lottie's transformation, however, was not complete. But then, every librarian needs to be a little bit of a dragon. Or else, who would guard the books? The end of our tale. I hope you enjoyed The Library Dragon by Carmen Agrediti. As I said, it's one of my favorite books. She's also written some other books. There is a second Library Dragon story, The Library Dragon Returns. So if you want to check that out, you can, and I'll tell you how. Our library is going to be doing library curbside pickup. And how you will check out a book is first you'll go into Destiny and put a hold on that book. And then Miss Porter or I will pull that book, and on Tuesdays and Fridays, we will be holding curbside pickup. So you and your parents can come and pick up your book to read at home. They will be quarantined, which means when you bring the books back, we're going to put them in a quarantine for 72 hours so they're safe and clean, and we will clean them off so that the next person gets a nice, clean, safe book. Be on the lookout for more information on how you can visit our library for curbside pickup. All right, guys, have a great night, sleep tight, and we'll see you on Monday.